The Monster of Kalduga Outpost by Matt Dunn. A short story from League of Legends. Read to you by Prestige Edition.
Featuring the voice of the Sweet Sniper.
Neeko was familiar with the shapes of humans. And while they had their quirks, socks, for instance, why? They never struck her as particularly strange. Not until the outpost at Kalduga. The ugly compound was carved into the cliffs near the outskirts of the jungle by a tribe of humans called Noxians. They had inhabited the outpost for a while, it seemed, based on how irritable, yet comfortable they seemed, performing their daily routines. Neeko wondered, were they friendly? Did they enjoy cheese breads? There were other questions too, but these were at the top of her mind when she decided to see for herself. Under the cover of night, she slinked in and out of shadows until she reached the gate. A single guard stood watch. This was not a problem at all. Neeko loved disguises. Adopting another entity's shape meant sharing their shoma, a complex web of emotions and recent memories. She reached out with her own shoma, feeling for the outer boundary of the guard's aura, which extended far beyond her body. When her spirit met the guard's, a name floated to the surface of Neeko's mind. Awai, from across the desert. A flavor color came next. Burnt orange bitterness over her lost home still graced Awai's mind, and the blue salt resentment about her station. The backwater nowhere outpost with no strategic value, but try telling the commander that. This Awai had dark skin and beautiful oval eyes. She was strong, but few took her seriously since she was a mud heel, a simple soldier. Fascinated, Neeko shed her natural chameleon-like appearance for Awai's shape. Neeko's skin swirled as her body morphed. It tickled her, but dizzied Awai. She used the guard's disorientation to slip beyond the gates and into the quiet corridors of the outpost, firmly incognito.
"Why?"
a shrill voice cried.
"Get back to your post!"
The rotund man, his belly poking out from under his breastplate, seemed startled. In the crook of his elbow were several toasted taffa roots and 2 loaves of crusty bread.
I heard noises.
Neeko put on her best impression of Awai's voice.
"It's probably bloody furtails. Better hunt them down. Then we can enjoy some furtail pie."
Not furtails.
Neeko did not want to eat those curious, funny little creatures.
"Are you saying there's an intruder?"
The man's eyes widened. Neeko did not know the meaning of this word, so she shrugged and nodded yes. This gesture, she figured, could surely lead to little trouble.
"Wilderfolk,"
he said.
"Could be a scouting party. What are you doing here? Raise the alarm!"
Where is alarm?
"Have you lost your brain, Awai? I'll do it. See the physician when this is over."
With that, the heavy man scurried off, cramming his snacks into his pocket. But before he was gone, Neeko mingled her spirit's motes with his, borrowing his shape, shedding Awai for this Ubers?
"Ubers!"
Neeko as Ubers said out loud. That was a fun name to say. Ubers did not like to be near the front lines of war, so Kalduga was a quiet and welcome assignment. His strength was in corresponding with the Empire. He was now scared, a rubbery, ashy yellow, at the thought of an attack by the Wilderfolk. Neeko liked this man, but not the feeling of the masculine Shoma. Too not Neeko. Most importantly, she felt Ubers's shock of running into another soldier after he had raided the larder. Food was nearby. As she headed down a hallway filled with doors, behind one of which must be the larder, Neeko heard a commotion out in the main yard. Loud voices shouting. She dashed to the nearest window and peered outside. Real Ubers was shouting at real Awai. Uh-oh. Bong! Bong! The sound of very loud bells startled Neeko as Ubers. Every door in the hallway burst open. Several half-dressed Noxians charged out, their eyes blinking away sleep. She tried to avoid the stampede, but was swept along away from the larder. Neeko, as Ubers, found herself pushed out into the yard with about a dozen armed soldiers.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Awai's face was stressed and defiant.
I've been standing guard all night long.
You were in the barracks,
said Ubers, flanked by 2 soldiers.
Take this deserter to the brig.
He pointed to Awai. Then it happened. Ubers saw Neeko as Ubers. Before Ubers and other soldiers deduced whether their double vision was the byproduct of the late hour or not, Neeko disappeared into the fog of another person. This time, it was a warrior named Seta. She was a killing machine. So vicious, spicy pink. Seta had rushed to the yard so fast she neglected boots. This was fine by Seta, and Neeko, as both light going barefoot. It reminded Seta of the sun-scorched province where she was born. Agile, silent. Just as Neeko was thinking she could enjoy being Seta, real Seta leapt at her doppelganger. The 2 Setas wrestled in a ruckus of soldiers, fighting and pulling at each other. When the commotion settled, only 1 Seta remained. Of course, it was the real Seta, but Ubers had her placed in chains. Seta pointed out that 2 Ubers had been seen, and he too was placed in chains. Then Awai. This continued for a while. Chains went on, chains came off. Nobody was sure who was who and who was not who, and who was lying about not being who they were when they were really someone else. Even the Outpost commander seemed uncertain what the source of all the trouble was, and Neeko didn't take his shape at all. This fact came to light and only fueled more suspicion. Was the commander secretly harboring some monster? The one thought that everyone shared, Neeko had learned from being everyone, was that no one liked the commander. He was too secretive and weak-willed. He had lost an important battle and had been demoted to, as Awai put it, this backwater nowhere outpost with no strategic value. Everyone turned on the commander, and he was the first to die. The mess only got messier from there. Soldiers screamed and fought and pointed blame. Some believed they were ensorcelled by a soul-eating demon. One veteran ranger told a harrowing tale of a jungle plant monster that replaced people with mindless copies of themselves, with vines for veins. Amidst accusations, elaborate quizzes of minuscule facts from times shared in training, and shouts of "Traitor!" Neeko tried to calm the troops.
What if?
Neeko, as a cook named Tomsey, said.
It is no monster. It is someone who is nice, lost, and a little scared, but just wants to make friends and eat cheese breads and be happy, yes?
Everyone in the Kalduga outpost knew at once this was the imposter. Swords came out, and the stabbing began. By dawn, only 4 soldiers remained alive. They stared hollow-eyed at the blood pooled under the commander's dead body, and at each other. Neeko watched them from the safety of the larder.
The commander did not want us to abandon the outpost,
Seda said. She knelt down by the body and blessed him with a gesture of her people.
Exile or execution is our future.
A moment of solemn silence passed through like a haunted, foul wind, despite the floral notes of taffy flowers blooming somewhere nearby. Ubers straightened up.
We'll send a messenger bat to command. The Wilderfolk have overrun Kalduga. We do not expect to survive, but we will die for the glory of Noxus. Then we abandon the outpost. Leave the bodies where they lay. Seda, you go north. Gurnek will go east. Awai, west. I'll head south. If anyone crosses paths with another, it is a duel to the death. For one of you.
Awai shot a wary glance at Ubers.
Or you.
Is the beast in disguise.
The soldiers left an hour later. They did not look back at their abandoned post, or each other, as they went their separate ways, unsure of who was really who. Humans were indeed strange creatures, Neeko thought. I'd like to thank the Sweet Sniper for this week's collaboration.
You can find me at twitch.tv/thesweetsniper.
All credit for these stories goes to Riot Games and League of Legends. Full details can be found in the video description. If you enjoyed this production, please hit like and subscribe. There's a lot more coming.